Tom, can we trust Kyle Whittingham?
Absolutely not.
No. I don't know that Cam Rising is even alive at this point. Honestly, he might have got a staph infection and died from whatever happened to his finger. Who knows? I will, or at least for the sake of this segment, I am just assuming Cam Rising will play. Everybody else the same?
That's what the
Way
odds
too
makers
much
think.
money has been bet on this game to move it. Like they opened a 3-point dog, and now they're what, a 2-point favorite. Somebody would know and would have bet this back if Cam Rising is not playing. Because if Cam Rising is not playing, that's probably like actually a touchdown drop off to Wilson, and then Oklahoma State should be, favored by more than a field goal. Like I do think at this point somebody would have bribed a trainer enough to know and got the right answer that he's not playing. I know that, I think that for a big game like that, I bet you that kind of stuff happens. So I think he's playing.
So
is he 100%? That I don't know.
Ironically, I'm more confident in Cam Rising playing in this game than I am of what to make of Utah. Because I do feel like when you look at who they've played and then blend in the fact that Cam got hurt early in the Baylor game and missed last week, like the offense they got off really hot in that game against Baylor. Cam gets hurt, leaves the game, and then they look like crap for the rest of the day. But that's not totally unexpected, because when you bring in a backup unexpectedly because things are going wrong, it's fair to expect that there will be some problems. Last week against Utah State, the offense looked good again without Cam, but Utah State also got torn apart by USC. So there's very much a chance that defense just sucks and we can't really take anything from it. So for me approaching this game, I kind of looked at it more from the Oklahoma State side, because I feel like, the line has moved. They're now underdogs at home in a conference game. And this is a conference game, right? We're not doing that anymore.
We're done with that. Yeah.
Just making sure. Can Oklahoma State run the football? Because to this point, Utah defensively has not looked spectacular against the run. And Ollie Gordon is tied for third nationally with 62 rush attempts. And that would be great for him to be the same kind of workhorse he was last year if he was having the same kind of production as he was last year, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's averaging 3.5 yards per carry, which ranks 225th among qualified running backs out there. He's got an explosive run rate of 3.2%, which ranks 312th of qualified running backs out there. And it's just not good. But to his defense, it's not really his fault. The offensive line sucks. Like, he is getting, let's see, what's the number at? Oklahoma State ranks 124th nationally in yards allowed before contact at 0.91. Ollie's getting 2.5 yards after contact, which isn't great in a vacuum. But when you consider how early he's being hit, the fact that he's still able to get those yards tends to give me reason to believe that he's still a good player. He's just getting absolutely no help. Overall, you'll be shocked to learn that because of all these problems, Oklahoma State ranks 110th nationally in EPA per rush. So it's hard for me to think they're going to win this game without figuring out a way to run the football, because based on what we have seen, and again, it's hard to know what to take seriously from Utah statistically based on who they've played, but their pass defense has been very good and their rush defense has been pretty So based off of that, and based off of just the way Oklahoma State has played, I think Ollie Gordon and this rushing attack really need to have a good day if they're going to win this game.
I agree with you, but I'm also a little curious, is that the right approach against Utah? Because Utah's secondary has been a little underwhelming to me. Now, they totally shut down Baylor. I mean, that was a dominant performance until Rising got hurt. But last week, the ball got thrown around on them a little bit. And we do know from our summer school series, they were pretty high on Keenan Johnson, the corner who transferred from Georgia Tech. And now he's out for the year. So maybe they have some more secondary concerns now than they did in the preseason. I think these Oklahoma State receivers are pretty darn good, although I think it's got to be kind of schemed up for Bowman. I mean, he's not a difference maker in terms of making things happen. It's Gundy's going to have to be very much in his bag. And on the flip side, as I'm sure Dan's going to talk about, Oklahoma State's defense has been bad. I mean, Arkansas almost had 700 yards on them. That's inexcusable. Shutting down Tulsa. I don't know if you guys watched that game. I watched just some clips. Tulsa's offensive line looks like high schoolers. So that doesn't really sway my opinion of this Oklahoma State defense. I don't know how many stops you're going to get if Rising is right.
with all that Oklahoma State had coming back, the offensive line, which had a zillion starts combined, Ollie Gordon, incredible workhorse. The reason I was not high on him was because I thought Alan Bowman was just a dude, just a guy, right? He's a jag. And he's played a little bit better this year. He's taking care of the football, but I think defenses and every defensive coordinator is like, we're not going to let Ollie Gordon beat us. Good luck with Alan Bowman trying to do it through the air. Which is why I think he's putting up better numbers. He looks a little more comfortable because you're getting much better matchups on the outside. But I don't think that'll change. I think Utah will challenge Ollie Gordon just the same way. And they'll say, all right, even if we have issues in the secondary, make the throws to beat us.
Who has the coaching edge?
Both have very good coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to really, I don't think anybody has a huge edge.
2 of the top 4 coaches in the Big 12?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 of the top 3?
Might be 2 of the
And
top
the head
2.
coach in waiting on defense for Utah. I'd say that maybe the D coordinators give the slight edge to Utah, just the consistency with which they've been good on defense. But as far as like coaching overall, these are 2 great coaches. I mean, they're 2 of the longest tenured. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I know they've got ties to both schools and all that, but these are 2 phenomenal coaches. I'll be curious, the Cam Rising thing. So Dorian Singer talks to the media, says he's playing. Everybody buys into it. I mean, it would be the biggest rope-a-dope ever if somebody told him, hey, tell him he's playing and he's not. I just think by all accounts, it was stitches, right? Like he cut his hand. It's nothing more significant than that, right?
Yeah, I had read a cut. I don't know where I read that. Apologies, but
Laceration was the word that was out.
So the only thing I wish I knew, and maybe if they had this in the pregame, I would check it out. Like, where is the laceration? Is it behind your hand or is it on the underneath? Because there is a massive difference from grip on the football. And like, if he has to tape it, that does kind of make you a little bit more erratic. Like all your touch points on the underneath of your hand are what need to be good to go. Other than that, I would expect Cam Rising to be completely fine. But like if they show, if they have him in warmups and they do that super zoomed in close up of his hand and they show it, it's either heavily wrapped or there's something underneath, then I might be a little bit more worried about Utah.
Let's go bloody sock.
State,
Let's go a bloody sock or a bloody glove. Like I want to get that he's playing through the pain.
Yes. Utah, though, they do love that 12 personnel. They love to get the tight ends involved. We've seen Oklahoma State's secondary struggle against Arkansas. Bud was talking about that. I do wonder if like Utah's offensive attack almost is better for Oklahoma State matchup wise.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I mean, I don't want to of course I want to go down vibes land. I don't want to go too far down vibes land away from the matchup, but just on a simple principle that Oklahoma State's entire Big 12 title candidacy is happening right now. They get Utah, then they've got to go to Kansas State. I think that coaching staff knows it. Mike Gundy talked about it. There is what Mike Gundy said. He's friends. He said the commissioner, who's a buddy of mine, he's not in charge of the scheduling. So I should have sent my Christmas present to the scheduling guys instead. They are intimately aware that if they're going to compete for a Big 12 title, they need to be playing their best football against the other good teams in this conference right now. So I look at this as very much a put up or shut up. Like no one's going to remember if Oklahoma State's playing its best football of the season in mid-November in the games where they should win, because you're not going to be playing for the Big 12 title. So let's see what you got.
It does appear to be like
Saturday.
Like the race for the Big 12 appears to be tightening a little bit. Right.
Well, we've kicked Kansas out.
So if I told you Utah, Kansas State, UCF, Oklahoma State, Iowa State are the only 5 teams that have a real shot to make the Big 12 title game, are you pushing back on that? And if so, who?
Do you believe?
I mean, Kansas doesn't have any conference losses, and Kansas does have a real easy schedule. And I think it's probably dumb to count out a Lance Leipold team this early when the guy's track record of coaching is amazing. and they have a super easy schedule, if I recall. So
The-
maybe that would be it.
Based off of the conference title odds at FanDuel make every moment more, there are 5 teams that they consider to be actual contenders for this league: Utah, Kansas State, UCF, Oklahoma State, and Iowa State. After that, there is a large gap to the next team, which is West Virginia.